Level 1. The fish. The bus doors open and the heat hits you first, then the noise. 40 men in chains shuffle across the reception yard while the towers watch. You keep your eyes forward. You were told not to stare? You were told a lot of things in county, none of it real, all of it about to be tested in the next 90 seconds. A man steps to you before you reach the housing unit. Same color as you. He asks where you're from. Not friendly. A census. In here, the first thing they establish is your race and your hometown, because that decides which car you ride in. White, black, Southern Hispanic, Northern Hispanic, the others. You don't get to pick. Geography and skin already picked for you. You answer. He nods. You've been sorted. Here is how your first week actually works. You are a fish, brand new, worth nothing. You will be told the rules of the day room, the phone, the showers, the chow line, where you can sit, who you can talk to, what you owe. You will be tested with small things. Someone borrows your soap and doesn't return it. You either ask for it back or you don't. Everyone is watching which. The car protects you. That's the pitch. You're not alone in here. You have brothers. You have a place. After a county lockup full of strangers, that feeling is a drug. You want to belong. You want to be useful. So when an older convict asks you to hold something for him, a small bindle, taped, no questions, you say yes. You don't even feel the line you just crossed. It felt like loyalty. It felt like opportunity. That's how everyone starts. Not as a criminal. As a kid who wanted to belong somewhere. Level 2. Putting in work. You hold packages for 3 months before they ask for more. By then, you've learned the real economy. The visible rules are posted on the wall. The real ones move through paper. A kite is a note written small, folded smaller. It carries orders, debts, names. It moves through the tier inside a hollowed pen, taped under a food cart, passed cell to cell by a runner called a courier. You learn to read them and burn them. You learn that the guards see most of it and let most of it ride, because a quiet prison is an easy shift. Your job now is collection. Every drug deal on the tier pays a tax to the car, usually 30%. You walk the debts. A man owes for a quarter gram of heroin and he's 3 days late. You go talk to him. The first time, your hands shake. You tell him he has until lockdown. You don't have to say what happens after. He already knows. He pays. Then comes the part nobody warns you about. A name comes down on a kite. A debtor who won't pay, or a man who talked to an investigator. The order is a courtesy. You, 2 others, 90 seconds in a blind spot, the cameras don't cover. You're handed a shank, a melted toothbrush with a razor seated in the handle. You tell yourself he earned it. He broke the rules. You're just enforcing what everyone agreed to. That's the rationalization, and it works because it's partly true. Afterward, you don't feel what you expected to feel. You wash your hands, you eat lunch. The first one is supposed to haunt you, it doesn't. That's the part that should scare you, and it doesn't either. You stopped being a fish. Now you're a soldier. The car knows your name. Level 3. The shot caller. They give you the keys to the tier, and now men report to you. A shot caller runs a section. You run yours. Every morning you get the count of who's on your tier, who's new, who owes, who's a problem. You hold the books, a mental ledger of every debt, every package in transit, every tax owed up the chain. Nothing moves without your say. A new fish arrives, and now you're the one deciding whether he holds packages. Here is how you move product through a maximum security prison. The dope comes in 3 ways. Through visits, passed mouth to mouth in a kiss, swallowed in a balloon. Through corrupt staff, a guard making 4 times his salary carrying a phone in his lunchbox. Through the mail, soaked into paper and legal documents that can't be opened outside your presence. You manage all 3 pipelines. You set prices. A strip of Suboxone that costs $8 outside sells for $80 in here. You take your cut and you send the rest up. Up is the point. You answer to the regional structure. The currency you trade in now is information and leverage. You know which guard gambles. You know which counselor has a record sealed. You file that away. Everyone has a pressure point. Your job is to find it and keep it ready. The cost is visible now, and you've stopped arguing with it. Your mother stopped accepting calls during your second stretch. Your daughter is 11 and writes once a year. You keep her letter in your locker and you don't reread it, because rereading it does something to your judgment, and judgment is the only thing keeping you alive. You order violence now without being present for it. You write the kite, someone else holds the steel. You've become an administrator. The work got cleaner, and that's exactly what makes it worse. Level 4. Holding the keys. You don't run a tier anymore, you run the yard. When you walk the main line, the noise drops. Men you've never met know your face. You hold the keys to the whole institution for your organization. Every shot caller on every tier sends their numbers to you. You sit at the top of the prison's hidden government, and the warden's government runs on top of yours, and both of you know which one the inmates actually obey. Here is how you give an order that ends a life 2,000 miles away. A man on the street disrespected the organization, or skimmed from a drug load, or cooperated with a federal case. The decision comes to you. You don't shout it. You write 3 lines on a kite, or you say a coded sentence into a monitored phone call about a birthday party that needs handling. It moves out through a paroling inmate, through a girlfriend at a visit, through a lawyer who doesn't ask what the message means. By the time it lands, you're in the chow hall eating, 50 witnesses around you, untouchable. You control green lights now, the standing kill orders. You can put a man's name on the list and every member in the system becomes his enemy. You can also pull a name off. That power, the power to spare, is worth more than the power to kill. Men give you everything for it. You tax the streets, not just the tier. Drug crews outside pay tribute to keep operating because they know your reach doesn't stop at the wall. $40,000 a week flows toward the organization, and you decide where the inside share goes. You haven't touched a free woman in 9 years. You sleep 4 hours. You trust no one, including the men who die for you because the ones closest to the top are the ones who get the offer to take it. You don't have friends. You have assets and threats, and you've stopped being able to tell the difference. Level 5. The table. They moved you to the SHU 8 years ago, and your power only grew. This is the secure housing unit. 23 hours a day in a concrete cell. No contact, no yard with other men, a slot in the door for your tray. They put you here to cut you off from the organization. It didn't work. It made you a legend. You sit on the table now, the small council that governs the entire organization, inside and out. There are only a handful of you. You communicate through a system so slow and so careful it can't be broken. A coded note rides out in legal mail. A paralegal photographs it. A member 3 states away reads it and passes the order down a chain that ends in a city you'll never see again. A single instruction can take 3 weeks to land. You think in those time frames now. You've learned the patience of a man with nothing but time. You haven't been in the same room as another member in years. You issue death and you grant mercy, and you've never met most of the people carrying it out. You are an idea more than a man at this point. New members are schooled on your name before they ever learn the rules. Here is what the top actually costs. You eat alone. You exercise alone in a cage the size of a parking space. The investigators validated you a decade ago, which means you'll never leave this unit, never make parole, never sit at a table with your own children. They're adults now. They know the cover story the family tells. They don't know you. There's nothing left to know. The man who got off that bus wanting to belong somewhere has been gone so long you can't remember his face. A young officer slid your meal through the slot last week and didn't look at you. Then, quietly, he said one thing before he walked off. My uncle used to talk about you. You are history now. You are the system itself. And the system does not feel anything at all. The fish, again. The bus doors open somewhere tonight and the heat hits him first, then the noise. He's 19. He's scared, though he'd never show it. He crosses the reception yard with his eyes forward because somebody in county told him not to stare. A man his own color steps up and asks where he's from. He answers. He gets sorted. In a week, he'll hold his first package and feel like he finally belongs. In a year, he'll walk his first debt.